billion allocated for emergency aid in Ukraine. But billions in COVID relief funding did not make the cut. The National Desk, Ryan Smith, explains why it was left out.
Nearly $16 billion of COVID relief was scrapped from the government spending bill last minute Wednesday after pushback from both parties over how it would be funded. The White House originally requested the bill include $30 billion for COVID testing, vaccines, and treatments, so supplies do not run out.
We need this additional funding in order to meet the needs of the American public.
But warning signs that additional relief funding would not be popular among Republicans started weeks ago. In a letter to the White House last week, 36 GOP senators asking how much of last year's American Rescue Plan remains, quote, unspent, unobligated, or undispersed, and how much the government has spent on vaccines and testing.
What is unspent? If we do anything for COVID, we should first look at those dollars to make sure they're repurposed to be able to spend for any COVID future expenses, not just continue to be able to add more debt.
Some cities and states, others say, may not have needed more funding to begin with.
We found that the 50 richest places across America received over $100 million in COVID, quote unquote, relief funding. They can't argue that they needed the money, but again, they're actually taking the money. They're not sending it back.
To compromise, Democrat leaders made a deal with Republicans to offset some of the relief money with funds already allocated in the American Rescue Plan. But Democrats representing areas that would be impacted by that move, saying money they had been promised would be lost.
These are investments that are essential, and in the long run will end up saving taxpayer money as well as protecting the health, which is even more important, protecting the health of Americans.
In addition to government funding, the massive bill includes $13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine, which will go toward helping refugees in energy and cybersecurity efforts. And just in tonight, the Justice Department reporting more than $8 billion in alleged fraud tied to federal COVID-19 funding. The agency also announcing it will tap a new director specifically to oversee its stimulus-related enforcement efforts.